It's Wednesday, February 4th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. From the corner office to a cell, the former CEO of the IWK gets jail time. Commuters could soon be in the fast lane as Halifax buses share the road.
Lots of cloud along with scattered flurries for Thursday. Temperatures tumble Thursday night.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. The former head of the region's children's hospital is in a jail cell tonight. Tracy Kitch was sentenced to 9 months for fraud, billing tens of thousands of dollars in personal expenses on her IWK credit card. CTV's Callum Smith has details and the pointed comments from the judge.
Tracy Kitch walks behind her lawyer into Halifax Provincial Court to learn her fate. She was convicted last year of fraud over $5,000 for a second time after successfully appealing the first verdict. The Ontario woman was the CEO of the IWK Health Centre from 2014 to 2017 when she resigned. An audit found she used her corporate credit card to spend about $47,000 on personal expenses that were reimbursed. A conservative estimate of more than $30,000 was the evidence presented at her retrial, consisting of personal flight passes to Toronto and taxi chits.
We're of the view that something of this seriousness with this degree of breach of trust requires no sentence less than a period of incarceration in a provincial institution.
Since her resignation, she served as a contract nurse and spent time in the film industry, but is currently unemployed. The Crown had asked for 9 months in jail and 2 years probation. The defense argued an 18-month conditional sentence with house arrest and curfew, followed by probation, was sufficient. The judge today sided with the Crown, even saying she considered a 1-year jail term before landing at 9 months. In a pre-sentence report, Kitch said she did not feel like what she did was malintent or dishonest.
The judge looked at that and rightfully considered it as an element showing, in my view, that she lacked insight into what exactly had occurred, what exactly was the crime, and what exactly was the gravity of it, including the impact upon both the public and the hospital itself.
Handing down her sentence, Associate Chief Judge Rhonda Vanderhoek said, "May this sentence also serve as a message to public officials that public service is a high calling and fraud against public institutions should result in the doors of a jail cell locking behind an offender." Kitch was then escorted out of the courtroom in handcuffs. Despite that, this case is not yet over. Kitch has already filed an appeal of the verdict, arguing 6 grounds. A reporter asked the prosecutor if the Crown would pursue a third trial if Kitch's appeal is successful, but he said it's too soon to say. Todd.
All right, Callum, and we know you'll be in that courtroom again tomorrow. Callum Smith leading us off in the news center tonight. A large-scale police operation has targeted an alleged Hells Angels cocaine distribution network in Quebec and northern New Brunswick. Raids were conducted early this morning in Rivière-Verte and Saint-Basile, both in Madawaska County. Police said it also aimed to break up a system to control territory in both provinces. More details are expected to be made in the coming days. On our website right now, New Brunswick's chief medical health officer issued an advisory about exposure to a confirmed case of hepatitis A at the Algonquin Resort in St. Andrews. This was on the 21st to the 25th of January of this year. Details available at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. An anti-crime group in Moncton had a very direct message for city councillors the other night. Fed up with robberies, vandalism, and drug use downtown, members demanded more police officers on the street. Council didn't offer any fixes, but as CTV's Derek Haggett tells us, the RCMP says it is listening.
Open-air drug use, threats on the streets, break-ins, and vandalism in downtown Moncton. Big concerns coming from an anti-crime coalition. Formed last fall, Enough is Enough made a presentation to City Council Monday night.
Certainly, Patrick and I don't know what the RCMP is or is not capable of. We don't know what this council does and doesn't have effect on. But what are you willing to do to help us, to bring our city back?
Not enough police boots on the ground, a common theme during and after the presentation.
We have to start having a look at how many boots are on the street. Not how many that are on paper, but how many. That's why I always ask for how many are fully operational.
The head of the Kodiak RCMP says they've watched the presentation and they're in the process of formulating a response.
There was a lot of inaccuracies, and we just want to set the record straight just so that residents know exactly what's going on in their community.
Gillette says they do have enough police officers to answer 911 calls and investigate crimes, but
we do not have enough to do everything that residents, elected officials ask and expect of us. And to be more specific, we don't have enough members to patrol on every street.
The coalition says there's been a significant rise in crime over the past few years. But according to the RCMP, property crimes were actually lower in 2025 than 2023.
The stats are fairly consistent despite continued population increases. So if somebody would ask me if property crime has exploded, I disagree because the facts just don't show that.
Jolette applauds anyone who is part of Enough is Enough because it shows they care about their community. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
In some sad news out of Moncton today, we learned of the passing of former Mayor Georges Leblanc. Born in Moncton, Leblanc built a law career before moving into municipal politics. He was a city councillor for many years before being elected mayor in 2008, a position he held for 8 years. He helped the city through the pain of the killing of 3 RCMP officers in 2014. In happier times, he oversaw the construction of the Avenir Centre and the creation of the Order of Moncton Award. Georges Leblanc passed away yesterday at the Moncton Hospital following a long illness. He was 71 years old.
All of the people of Moncton.
There's a live look at downtown Moncton right now and that Avenir Centre in the skating rink in front. It's currently -3 degrees. Let's bring in CTV meteorologist for our first look at the forecast and a bit of snow on the radar.
Yes, that's right, and that's what we're going to begin with. We didn't see any there in that lookout in the Moncton area. Some people taking advantage of the pretty fair weather conditions there to use the skating rink. Currently, though, as we take a look at things on radar, we can see that there is some snow wrapping in off the Atlantic for areas of Nova Scotia. I know this looks like it's mostly focused in around the central part of Nova Scotia, Halifax, back towards the Annapolis Valley, and even the South Shore, but it does extend into the southwest as well. In fact, a viewer of the program, Marianne from Deep Brook in Digby County, Nova Scotia, sent me in a picture and a report that it's been snowing for at least a few hours there, and it does look like that snow has accumulated a bit throughout the day. In some areas, the snow has been melting as it's been coming down because temperatures today during the day were a little bit on the milder side, but now as we're moving into this evening and tonight, they are falling to and below the freezing mark. So this snow may start to make things a little bit slippery, a little bit greasy as it continues over the next couple of hours. So just maybe a little bit of caution out there. It is going to be around for the first part of this evening. Taking a look at potential snowfall amounts, then you can see that maybe some areas picking up another few centimeters of snow as we make our way through the rest of this evening and into the early morning hours of Thursday. What's going to happen, though, basically midnight and onward, is most of that snow is going to be headed east of the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia. Now, I mentioned the temperatures, and you can see that Halifax now is reporting a temperature pretty close to around -1. Lunenburg still sitting at +1, but there's that trend for temperatures returning to and below the freezing mark for those areas that might have been a little bit above for today. It's already colder than that, of course, through northern areas of New Brunswick. Temperatures there between -5 and -10. Winds right now, no big issues with those. They're variable in direction and they're relatively light. They're mostly being sustained between around 5 and 15 kilometers per hour. A little bit gustier down around the coastline of the southwest of Nova Scotia. A few gusts there getting close to 40. For tomorrow, the winds becoming northwest for the region, and that's going to start to bring in some colder air that will continue to move into place as we make our way through the end of this week and into the upcoming weekend. And Todd, I'm going to have more on that coming up later on.
All right, we'll see you then. An incentive to carpool could be right around the corner. The New Nova Scotia government, wants to allow vehicles with multiple passengers to use bus lanes in Halifax. It's the latest attempt to curb congestion. CTV's Jonathan McGuinness has more.
Drivers see it all the time, busy car lanes and empty bus lanes. The Nova Scotia government thinks it's time to share the road and let vehicles carrying 2 or more people use the bus lane.
The team is currently looking at how best to utilize HOV lanes here, whether they're strictly on the peninsula, whether they're on the highways.
HOV stands for High Occupancy Vehicle. The idea is to encourage carpooling by allowing the driver to access less crowded lanes on roads or highways.
I believe they definitely reduce congestion.
Motorist Nuri Rivas is sold on the idea.
I love seeing when the buses have the HOV lanes. So I think allowing cars to also be a part of that, if they have multiple passengers, I think is a good idea.
I think that anything that reduces congestion and traffic in the Halifax Regional Municipality would be beneficial.
But CAA spokesperson Julia Kent would like to see the province monitor the results.
We need to see data. We need to see results that is actually going to work and that HOV lanes will be properly enforced and adhered to by Haligonians.
High occupancy vehicle lanes would be enforced like any other traffic violation. In addition to HOV lanes, Minister Tilley is also proposing a coordination of traffic lights to allow drivers to move freely through multiple intersections.
Adaptive signal technology is where the signal lights will speak to one another, and in real time they can change with the flow of traffic to keep traffic flowing.
The changes are part of the regional transportation plan. Minister Tilley says fine amounts for vehicles using the HOV lanes when they're not supposed to haven't yet been determined. And Todd, Minister Tilley says these changes will be implemented in the coming months. Barrington Street and the approaches to the McDonald Bridge will be the first areas to see HOV lanes. Todd.
All right, John, on Roby Street in North End Halifax, one of those streets with the bus lanes. Thank you. Cuba is a top destination for maritimers looking for sun and sand, of course. This winter, they might find something else. Shortages. The country is suffering. It's low on fuel, power, and food. That, coupled with uncertainty in the region, has prompted a travel advisory by Global Affairs Canada. CTV's Brianne Foley has details.
The lure of Cuba is strong in the Maritimes. It offers many desirable elements of a winter break, but it comes with challenges. That is why Ottawa issued an advisory. Travel agent Miranda Miller is fielding plenty of calls.
It's not a recommendation we've had for a while. There has been shortages and power outages and such for some time.
Venezuela supplies much of Cuba's energy. The concern isn't necessarily safety, but comfort.
And with those power outages, the airports can go dark sometimes, flights can get canceled or delayed, so you're going to see added cost to the traveler.
Even at resorts where maritimers tend to visit, there can be a lack of certain kinds of food or other comforts. For those who have been to Cuba before, it's about managing expectations.
I have some friends down there and people who I know from here who are traveling right now even, and there's always a shortage. Sometimes in the morning you might have ketchup, in the afternoon you don't.
And right now the United States is prohibiting any importation of Venezuelan diesel or heavy oil into the country. So even the resorts are going to struggle to keep the lights on and to keep the groceries on the table.
But for some travelers, there is still reason to go.
I would still go. The Cubans are so proud and happy of their island, and they'll do anything for you. So I would say that trumps any advisory.
As for the status of the advisory, a former Foreign Service member tells me that they weigh all the factors, relying heavily on information from those employees at the embassy, as well as Canadians who are there. Brianne Foley, CTV News, Halifax.
There is positive reaction tonight from maritime whale advocates to Ottawa's new plan to protect the endangered North Atlantic right whale. A strategy focused on fishing gear will begin here on the East Coast with a goal to go nationwide. It will see the use of on-demand or ropeless fishing gear that can be moved to and from the ocean floor using acoustic signals. Entanglement in fishing gear is often fatal to the endangered North Atlantic right whale that summers in our waters.
More than 86% of right whales have been entangled at least once in their lifetime. Some have been entangled multiple times. I think this strategy is really putting Canada in the lead in how we are, protecting an endangered species, how we're working to also safeguard our seafood trade, protect our fisheries, and shows that we're taking this seriously.
The plan will also open closed fishing grounds for those boats with the new gear. There are around 380 right whales remaining. There was a buzz at Sydney's community college campus. The school and the one in Spring Hill are training the next generation of Powerline technicians, a skilled trade high in demand. Today, prospective students had plenty to look up to. Your CTV's Ryan McDonald.
Having a life-changing idea is often referred to as having a light bulb go off in one's head. But for Nevaeh Sampson, hers was the moment she realized she wanted to help turn the lights back on for others.
I fished lobster with my dad. So one day we were on the step and I watched Brady Gerwart change a light on the power pole, and then I decided that's what I wanted to do.
The 18-year-old from Isle Madame is one of 30 students who just this week started in the new Power and Utility Line Work program here at the NSCC Sydney Waterfront campus. The course is also offered in Spring Hill, but she wanted to be closer to home.
I had to get an apartment because I'm still from Arishat, but it's still it's less of a drive.
The program actually was out at the Marconi campus several years ago, probably 20 years ago.
Now, the one-year certificate program has been brought back to Cape Breton with a focus, the school says, on attracting students from the local area.
And from the students, I understand there was an overflow. People were trying to get into the course, so there's a waiting list, actually.
The pilot is a partnership with Nova Scotia Power. They have spent money on an on-campus training yard and a full pole yard for further training at NSP's Sydney Depot. The utility says it's to address what they call urgent workforce needs.
The electric industry in general, there's an increase requirements and demand for Powerline technicians, and this is North America-wide.
What is pretty clear from the faces in attendance is that this is typically a male-dominated workforce. But Nevaeh Sampson says she's inspired by all the women who have done this job before her, and that all the talk about demand for workers means she isn't worried about herself and her classmates getting hired.
Because sometimes you come out of school and you don't get a job, you get a look and all that. This job is really in need.
The program's first students are set to graduate in the fall. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
It may be winter, but they're preparing for drought in St. John. City water supplies and private wells suffered last summer. Work is underway to bolster water sources for what could be another hot year. CTV's Nick Moore reports.
This bridge on Highway 111 near the St. John Airport crosses over the channel linking Loch Lomond Lake with Robertson Lake, the drinking water supply for much of St. John. Water is flowing easily through the channel today, but there was real concern back in the fall that the water had plummeted to such a low level that the lakes would become cut off following a summer of drought conditions.
And that channel is shallower than Robertson Lake itself, so that creates a pinch point or bottleneck.
Dean Price is the manager of source water protection with St. John Water and says work will pick up in February to dredge a section of the channel. A new gravel pad has also been built nearby with the expectation that drought conditions will become more common and more severe in the years to come.
We're just trying to position ourselves so that we have a backup plan that's readily available to us, whether we need to do more dredging or if we had to do emergency pumping.
While the water level here has gone up and there's plenty of snow cover now, well drillers say it will take more to recover from last summer's drought.
And it can take up to 5 years for a well to replenish properly.
Roger Roy is president of the New Brunswick Groundwater Association and says drilling companies have been working around New Brunswick throughout the winter.
One well driller in the Acadia Peninsula, he still had 30 wells to drill. And he's been drilling all summer. If a household doesn't have any water, not much that can be done, besides drilling a new well.
And demand is not expected to go away. A report from Environment and Climate Change Canada says the year ahead will likely be one of the hottest on record, comparable to 2025. Nick Moore, CTV News, St. John.
Still ahead on your midweek newscast, no hot weather. Kayla Mitchell has a bit of snow on the horizon. Before that, though, Nova Scotia's power play in New England.
Incredible wind speeds. The wind blows a lot. The water depths are good. We have all the conditions to create a lot of clean energy.
The Premier was in Boston today with a pitch to make it the Windy City. That's next. Nova Scotia and Massachusetts are taking steps towards an offshore wind partnership. Premier Tim Houston was in Boston today to sign an agreement that aims to boost clean energy development and share it across the border. CTV's Jesse Thomas has more.
As energy demands grow and governments push to secure and meet clean energy targets, there's an opportunity for offshore wind development in Nova Scotia, and Massachusetts wants to be part of that and on the receiving end of that future clean energy development. Premier Tim Houston was in Boston today, promising Nova Scotia will soon be a world-class leader in offshore wind, and they'll have plenty of energy to share.
In fact, Nova Scotia only uses about 2 gigawatts of energy at peak demand, and in the Nova Scotia offshore, we can produce 40, 50, 60 gigawatts. It's remarkable. So we'll have a lot of excess energy.
Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey and Houston signed a memorandum of understanding to partner and cooperate on the development and delivery of wind power.
More supply means lower costs and more reliable energy for our region.
Although the agreement doesn't bring any financial commitments or timelines around development of the wind infrastructure or transmission lines, it's something to build off. Houston says Nova Scotia's offshore conditions make it ideal for large-scale wind development.
Incredible wind speeds. The wind blows a lot. The water depths are good. We have all the conditions to create a lot of clean energy.
Formal talks with energy officials from both sides of the border are expected in the coming months. Healey says demand for wind energy is growing and offshore wind is reliable despite what some naysayers suggest.
Whatever actions may or may not be coming out of Washington, rest assured that here in Massachusetts, we're moving forward in any which way to bring more energy into this region.
Both Nova Scotia and the federal government are partnering to develop Wind West, a major offshore wind project, which they say could supply a quarter of Canada's energy needs and potentially feed energy into parts of New England. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
Well, not a lot of wind tonight, but there will be flurries and clouds. Caleb Mitchell returns with his maritime forecast right after this. Well, this was a calm midwinter day in Mineville, Nova Scotia, and I think are we at the midway point, winter? Pretty close.
I'd have to check. I'd have to take a look at a calendar.
Yeah, I'm guessing that we're a day or two either side of it.
Yeah, it probably depends on what definition you go by, whether you're going to go by the meteorological definition or the astronomical one, but it wouldn't surprise me if we're pretty close. Yeah,
I'll go with the one that whichever
one gets us further into winter.
Exactly.
Mineville today, pretty nice looking scene. Don't mind February days like this.
No.
We did some areas see some light snow, some flurries falling.
Great big snowflakes.
Yep, that does continue into this evening for some locations in Nova Scotia. We'll catch up with that in our timeline in a moment. Let's take a look at weather conditions across the country, though, beginning out west. And speaking of mild, big bridge in the jet stream built up right now around southern areas of BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan. You can see those temperatures there. We got 12s at Vancouver and Victoria, and as Todd was just mentioning, Calgary right now sitting at 14 degrees, and Regina's at 4. Edmonton even at 5 degrees right now. It's even mild up towards the north. Fort St. John in BC sitting at 5 right now with cloudy conditions, and Fort McMurray 9 degrees with some sunshine. Yellowknife, though, is colder, sitting at -17. There is some colder polar air that's coming across parts of the Northwest Territories and then in over Hudson Bay. Feeling that in Iqaluit as well, temperatures at around -21. Sudbury is a little bit colder, sitting at -10, as is Ottawa at -9, -7 at Montreal. In the Maritimes, -4 at Fredericton, -1 at Halifax, -3 at Charlottetown, and St. John's right now reporting clear conditions and sitting at -7 after they started off the week with a big snowfall. Taking a look at our timeline for cloud cover and precipitation, here's the snow and flurries that I mentioned. You can see it's in a band, running basically across the southwest of Nova Scotia and extending up into Halifax County. Some of that snow as well, sort of creeping its way up the eastern shore. It's going to be around over the next couple of hours, and temperatures are falling back down to and below the freezing mark. So be careful about some surfaces becoming a little bit slippery out there. Now, as we move towards and after midnight, that snow is going to be exiting east of the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia. Fair bit of cloud cover, though, lingers into the start of the day for tomorrow. And throughout the day on Thursday, it remains cloudy, maybe with occasional peaks of blue sky or a little bit of sunshine. But there will also be some scattered flurries in the region. Winds for tonight are relatively light, and then in tomorrow's forecast, they're going to be out of the northwest, and they'll be sustained in a lot of cases between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour, with occasional gusts beginning up between 20 and 40. Now, low temperatures in the forecast for tonight are still going to be colder for communities in New Brunswick. Most of those will fall into a range around -10 to -16, -8 at Grand Manan. Prince Edward Island tonight, a lot of low temperatures headed down to around -7. And for Nova Scotia tonight, low temperatures mostly between -3 and -8. In the forecast for tomorrow across the north of New Brunswick, temperatures between -6 and -9. Low chance of a flurry throughout the day, isolated flurries. It's about a 30% chance for any given community. And same thing goes through central and southern areas of New Brunswick. High temperatures tomorrow, -3 for Campobello, -4 for Fredericton, -5 for St. John, and -6 for Moncton in the southeast. Prince Edward Island on Thursday, mostly cloudy, scattered flurries. That's about a 60% chance of a flurry throughout the day for any given community. And high temperatures between -3 and -6, including -3 at Surrey, -5 at Charlottetown and Summerside, and -6 at Cavendish and Tignish. Cape Breton for tomorrow with high temperatures between 0 and -3, and some scattered flurries expected there. Same thing goes for the north and east of Nova Scotia, where high temperatures will be mostly between 0 and -2. Northern and central areas of Nova Scotia for tomorrow with high temperatures between 0 and -3. So again, not particularly cold for early February. The Annapolis Valley with high temperatures for around -3. And on the south shore of Nova Scotia, most of the high temperatures will be around -1, -2. Now, I said some of these temperatures, some of these daytime highs, not particularly cold for early February, but there is some colder air that is going to be arriving through Thursday night and around for Friday and the upcoming weekend. Down to basically some flurries in the forecast now, though, for Saturday. Mix of sun and cloud for Sunday for New Brunswick. Colder temperatures. The daytime highs likely to be in the -teens, and same thing goes for Monday. The overnight lows could be pretty close to -20. And then a chance of flurries follows after that for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. For Nova Scotia in the outlook, we have some isolated flurries for Friday, and then flurries in the weekend forecast for both Saturday and Sunday, along with colder temperatures, especially during the nights and early in the morning. Colder air in place as well for the start of next week, with a chance of flurries on Monday, followed by a mix of sun and cloud for Tuesday and Wednesday. And for Prince Edward Island in the forecast for Friday, some flurries expected with a high of -6. Flurries on Saturday with a high of around -2, but down to -4 for Sunday. And then the big chills in place at the start of next week. High temperatures on Monday could be close to -16 for PEI, and then -10 on Tuesday before -6 with a chance of flurries on Wednesday. Todd.
That is a big chill. Yeah. Okay, our crack research department went to work during your forecast. The astronomical calendar.
Yes.
February 3rd. Yesterday.
3rd. Okay.
Midway point of winter.
Excellent.
So there we have it. We'll see you at the end point of the show.
That's right.
And coming up, we will talk about getting more black businesses in the Maritimes. And it's all points east on the scene.
Hey, I'm Tim.
I'm Jake. We're the East Pointers.
And we will be talking about a new record schooner town and some touring coming up.
Okay, so coming up tomorrow, 7 a.m., get that keyword, Virgin Radio's $100,000 Destroy Your Debt for your chance to win the grand prize.
And there's another shot at $100 to Bikini Village. That's around 7:30.
Welcome back on this Wednesday evening. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the Black Business Initiative. The organization helps people navigate the business world and runs seminars for entrepreneurs. There's a big gala celebration next month, and we're joined by BBI CEO Matthew Martel. It's certainly nice to see you.
Great to see you as well, Todd. Thank you.
A lot has changed in 3 decades since the launch of BBI. Maybe you can talk a bit about what the Black business community looked like then and how it's grown.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so BBI, we were founded back in 1996 as a result of a provincial task force that was built to address some of the systemic issues facing Black communities across Nova Scotia, as well as addressing some of the barriers that businesses themselves face. So, you know, when we would have started, we would have seen a lot of challenges with things like access to funding, access to quality mentors, and really just a strengthening of business acumen sort of required in the community. And 30 years on, we have certainly grown. We are supporting hundreds of businesses every single year and creating grants and funding to the tune of tens of millions of dollars across Canada just in our partnerships with the federal government. So it really has been drastic changes for us, and still looking at the same sort of community challenges sometimes. So the work continues, but we've certainly seen a lot of changes in 30 years.
Started in Nova Scotia, you've expanded well beyond that and expanded beyond businesses too, right? Do you deal with nonprofits? Maybe you can tell us a bit about where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. So businesses is still very much the core of what it is that we do. So we support Black businesses here in Atlantic Canada, but we did also have an opportunity to work with ESDC and the federal government to support Black-led, Black-serving not-for-profit organizations across Canada. And so through that initiative, we have distributed over $34 million to Black-led, Black-serving not-for-profits in over 1,030 organizations. So that's really where we're seeing that community support. And that really allows us to fulfill our own mission of creating vibrant, dynamic Black communities across Nova Scotia and Canada more broadly. So it really is within that mission, and we've found that sort of new pathway to allow us to support communities from a different angle.
You work with a lot of budding entrepreneurs. What is it they're looking for when they get started? What are they asking about?
Yeah, it's a great question. And unfortunately, we see a lot of the challenges that we saw back 30 years ago. We still see most people coming through our doors looking for access to capital. So there's still certainly challenges with accessing capital to grow your business, working capital, grants, funding. That's still a big piece of what it is that people come to visit us for. And it followed closely, I would say, by training. So with the onset of AI and all of the changes that we're experiencing, not just in how we do business, but also the skills and tools that businesses need to thrive, we're seeing significant gaps in that space. So at BBI, we've been looking over the past 2 and 3 years and how we really dig into some of those challenges to make sure that we have programming that is responsive to the needs we're hearing from the community, but also rooted in sort of modern approaches to supporting businesses.
Well, you mentioned AI, there's cybersecurity. There seems like there's so much more for business owners to take into account than perhaps ever before. Look, the economy's not great. Is this a good time to start a business?
Yeah, so I think it's always a great time to start a business. I would say the important part, which is more important today than ever, is that for any founders that are starting businesses, making sure that you have that robust support system behind you through organizations like ourselves, but also great provincial initiatives, federal initiatives, and some of the other great ecosystem partners that are around. But absolutely, it's challenging, but there also has never been a better support network built around entrepreneurs here in the province, especially. So I would say absolutely, go for it, take the risk, and the supports are behind you.
In the few seconds I have left, why don't you plug the gala?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So we are celebrating our 30th anniversary with Black Business Gala. So that is March 20th in the evening. You can find all the details about the gala on our website at bbi.ca. But really, it is an opportunity for us to celebrate some of the amazing businesses that have come through BBI over the past 30 years, highlight the amazing volunteers and board members that we've had, the tremendous staff, as well as the partners that have allowed us to make the impact that we've made. So it's going to be a big one. We're very excited about it, and it is also on the heels of our business summit that has a theme of innovation in motion. So those two things are together, and you can find all those details on our website.
All right, that's great. Matthew Martel, BBI, thank you very much for your time. Good to hear about the gala, and best of luck in March.
Yes, thank you so much, Todd. Okay.
We'll take a time out. We'll be right back.
February is Black History Month. recognizing Jeremiah Jones. Jeremiah Jones was an African Nova Scotia soldier who served with courage during the First World War. At the Battle of Vimy Ridge, he single-handedly captured a German machine gun position, an act of bravery later formally recognized.
In our health report, there is new research that finds the risk of heart disease rises faster for men than women by their mid-30s. CTV's Amanda Debison has more in tonight's edition of The Lifeline.
Men develop a greater risk of cardiovascular disease years earlier than women, starting at around age 35. That's according to a new long-term study. The report, published in the Journal of the American Heart Association, followed more than 5,000 adults from young adulthood and found that men reached clinically significant levels of cardiovascular disease about 7 years earlier than women. Researchers say that participants entered the study well before the onset of most cardiovascular risk, so researchers were able to precisely measure when disease emerged, a major advantage over studies that enroll patients later in life. Experts advise both men and women to monitor their heart health in early adulthood and to see their doctor regularly. Finally, a new study suggests that babies are able to distinguish between the different objects they see around them at 2 months old, which is earlier than scientists previously thought.
Infants know a lot more than we thought that they did. And their brains are processing the world around them in hugely complex ways. They're not just lying there passively, waiting until they can move around themselves and speak. There's a lot of complex cognitive development happening within the first year of life. And now with this type of method, we can really start to measure that.
The findings may help doctors and researchers better understand cognitive development in infancy. The study looked at data from 130 2-month-olds who underwent functional brain imaging while awake. The babies viewed images from 12 categories commonly seen in the first year of life, such as trees and animals. Results were published in Nature Neuroscience. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for The Lifeline.
Did you see those babies?
I did. Did you see those babies?
They're
You
cute.
were more excited than me.
No, they're cute.
They're really cute.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're on the scene with Katie Kelly. Hi, you're back
Hi.
after you were on assignment.
Yes.
A couple days.
Yes. Yes.
Good to have you back. Tonight, Juno Award-winning folk group The East Pointers are back, and they're bringing East Coast Kitchen Party energy with them.
As always.
As
Todd.
always, right?
Yes. Yes. They're fresh off a UK tour, and the Prince Edward Island musicians have just released a brand new album, and they're about to hit the road with fellow East Coast royalty.
The East Pointers are kicking off the year with new music. Schooner Town is out now.
It is basically just life growing up in a small East Coast town. And yeah, just a big kitchen party and hopefully a good time.
I think, you know, growing up on the East Coast, we can all relate to, I think, the folk music tradition here, and we really wanted to capture that on this album. There's some sad lyrics in there, but we really genuinely wanted, like, for people to put it on and be able to dance, have a good time.
The band kept things close to home in more ways than one.
Jake engineered it, and we produced it and wrote it and recorded it all us. Yeah. It definitely is a big undertaking, but it was so rewarding, I guess, whenever you like actually tackle it and finish it.
We really wanted Schooner Town to feel like a place, and I think doing it all in Charlottetown was felt like that was the inspiration for this album. And there's, you know, we have like some sound effects from the ocean there and the school nearby and some little boat noises and stuff. So there's all bits and pieces throughout the album.
The record also keeps their late bandmate Cody close, while leaning into a more uplifting sound.
Yeah, I think our last record we kind of wrote, you know, some songs that were, you know, in a sad place, and we purposely wanted to do something that felt more like kind of positive sounding, I guess, and musically especially. But yeah, I think we like, and there's some tunes on there that we still like that we wrote with Cody, And actually the last track in the album, which we called Sea Spirit, is a track that Cody wrote, and we re-recorded it.
Now, with new songs ready for the stage, they're getting set to pack up and head across the country with Alan Doyle, bringing a little East Coast kitchen party wherever they go.
I think it's going to be a good time. I'm worried about how foolish people are going to get, but I think that's a good thing.
Because feeling good is what their music is all about.
I think if you live on the East Coast, maybe you feel proud to be on the East Coast, and if you're away from the East Coast, just kind of be transported there.
Their music is so good.
I like that line. I wonder how foolish people will get.
I know. Well, I said to them, the East Pointers and Alan Doyle in one show, it's almost too much.
That's
it's
a
so
lot.
good. It's a lot.
That's a lot of energy.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So that tour includes 6 maritime dates in March, including 4 back-to-back shows in Halifax, followed by Moncton and St. John. The East Pointers also have a hometown album release show in April at the Trade Eastlink Center in Charlottetown. So lots of chances to see the East Pointers and listen to that new album. Oh, it is so good.
It is good. Thank you. See you tomorrow night. Yes. We'll see you after this. Our business report now, and the Dow Jones ended the trading day up 260 points. Home prices continue to slide in Canada's largest city. BNN Bloomberg's Marla Fernandez has details.
Toronto home sales fell 19% last month from January of 2024, and the average selling price is down as well. It's the first time the average selling price dropped to under $1 million since January of 2021. It's currently $973,000, and a home now spends an average of 45 days on the market. The Toronto Regional Real Estate Board says it expects the weakness to last through the first half of the year. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 73.17. West Texas Intermediate is up almost $2 to 65.14. Western Canadian Select is up to 47.92, and the TSX gained 182 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marla Fernandez.
Kaylin's outside with one more. Is that snow falling?
It's like being in a snow globe out here right now, Todd. It's a light snow falling, but it is starting to accumulate on some of the areas in and around me, so be careful about some slippery spots if you're out there driving this evening. Let's take a look at our picture for tonight, and this is coming in from Deep Brook, Nova Scotia. It's actually in Annapolis County, pretty close to the Digby area, though. It was sent in by Marianne. Just wanted to let us know that it's been snowing for at least a couple hours during the day, and you can see it's collected at least on some tree branches there as well. Deep Brook for tomorrow is going to be cloudy with some flurries and a high temperature of around -2. Day planner for tomorrow around the Maritime region. We do start off mostly cloudy and with a little bit of a cold to chilly start to the day, especially in the province of New Brunswick. There, most morning temperatures in the -teens. The afternoon, though, not particularly cold by February standards, near to slightly above average temperatures in the afternoon. Cloudy periods and still with some scattered flurries expected. Let's find out what's coming up on Your Morning Atlantic.
Thursday on Your Morning Atlantic, the Big Chill.
We'll learn about a local charity challenging people to reach for the extraordinary while helping others. Grab your snowshoes and meet the folks from Give to Live.
Start your morning with us Thursday on Your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
Finally for us tonight, happy 20th birthday to Facebook. Yes, today marks 20 years since Facebook launched. Mark Zuckerberg was a Harvard University sophomore when he introduced the social networking site to fellow students on campus. What began as a campus-only website quickly expanded beyond colleges and then beyond expectations, took over the world. 2 decades after its launch, the social media giant continues to show unprecedented staying power, but not without its critics, of course. Facebook currently reaches more than 2 billion users every day. That is our look at the day here at home. Bruce Frisco is in this chair at 11:30, and CTV News Atlantic has your updates anytime. I'm Todd Battis. Hope to see you right back here tomorrow. Till then, have a good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.